Welcome back, Dads. The wait is over. Today, we're strapping in for an epic cinematic showdown. Kevin Feige's new MCU phases and James Gunn's new DCU. We're diving deep into the competing visions for these iconic comic book worlds. Beyond the CGI battles, we're unpacking what matters most to us, the ambitious undertaking of building a connected universe and the legacy being passed on to the next generation of fans. Grab your web shooters and your batarangs, and let's debate the future of the big two on this episode of Three-Dimensional Dads. I'm Jay.
I'm Derrick.
And I'm Ian.
And we're the Three-Dimensional Dads. And our wallets are going to be begging for mercy come September because there is a lot of movie we have to watch this year. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be rough.
Summer. Yeah.
Well, and I think we're single-handedly keeping the theaters alive, right? I mean, have you been to the movies lately? It's not an event anymore, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it has to be superheroes. Those movies are what's pulling the big numbers now. And it's like, it's tough to even get me to want to leave the house to go see one of these things. But like Marvel has that buzz. Star Wars still has that buzz. But like, yeah, I feel like that's what's keeping movie theaters going right now. The popcorn buckets and the...
No, well, I'm not paying $40 to eat popcorn out of Vince Neil's head.
Out of an AT-AT? I don't know. It's a cool AT-AT.
That's how they get you. Use my dad thing. That's how they get you.
It's a collector's item.
It's been 20 years since Iron Man. 20 years almost. 18 years or so.
Damn. Yeah.
So
has it really?
It has. 2008. They started making it in 2006. So, I mean, if you think about it, it's been 20 years of this chunk of cinema history, right? Since we had Iron Man. And now we're in theaters, we're in streaming, we're in amusement parks. Like, I think we finally made it to a point where superheroes are one of the biggest parts of like the cultural zeitgeist. I mean, everyone knows in some way, shape, or form Iron Man, Captain America, Superman, Batman, but they don't know them from the comic books anymore. They know them from movies and TV.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. That like Target, the whole aisle is all this stuff that we're talking about here. It's nuts that it's just so cult. Because like when I was a kid, this was not popular stuff. There was one store, the comic book store, that had these kind of things, and the rest was not.
Yeah, it was. And I think that's mainly contained because it was contained to comic books. And now you have the technology where you could have these movies made in real live action, and you have celebrities that now have big names that are. They are these characters that their careers are associated with.
Chris Evans, I think out of everyone is like, he feels like Captain America. I feel like it's hard to break away from.
He totally is Captain America. I mean,
he's
that's
so good though. He's a great actor. Like I've loved him in Knives Out and other stuff he's done, but like, yeah, that feels like him.
I think that we are getting to a point now where superhero cinema, superhero streaming is no longer superhero cinema and streaming. It's just, that's what we have.
Right. Oh yeah. Disney Plus is built on all. Yeah.
That is what we have. And before we get into our topics, I think that changes the calculation, I think, for the people that make this, right? Because it's no longer like we're doing this niche project for a small group of people, right? It's not the event. Going to the movies is not the event it used to be, but it's still the biggest property, the biggest money makers that these studios have, I believe. So I think we need to get right into it. I think, we have two competing visions right now, right? We have the DCU reboot and the MCU continuation. So like, where are we at?
Yeah, it's tough about which one's winning, which one's more impressive, which one is, they're in such different places that, DC Comics just did an Etch-a-Sketch and shook the Etch-a-Sketch and just reset the slate, which Marvel is getting super complicated.
Yep.
Yes.
Because it's so much. It's just it's all over the place.
Who can
and
keep
you have
track
like
of all
the
that?
Daredevil people, and you have it's tough. And we talked about this idea, do you have to do your homework? Do you have to do your homework to watch a TV show? Do you have to do your homework to watch a movie? I'm going to say no, it's not necessary, but it does certainly help if you've never been part of this before. So if you're younger, you're just getting into it.
Yeah. I feel that, I mean, if we want to jump right into it, right? I feel DC has had, call it the luxury, right, if you will, that they have been playing, I'll call it like small ball for a baseball metaphor, right?
Yeah.
And I think they also have the luxury where, like Ian, you just mentioned, they shook the Etch-a-Sketch clean, right? And so they could try different things and see what sticks at the wall. I think with the Snyderverse, they found out what didn't work, what didn't appeal with fans.
Yikes,
and of course they got Gunn in, right, who really wrote properties for Marvel. I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy, that people really connected with. And when he started taking over a lot of the DC properties and started doing the creative things, I think that resounded more. And so now he's at the helm, right? And we're seeing the start of a vision. But he does have that luxury where he can try new things, right? How many, we just got a new Superman.
And a damn good one, though.
Right?
A damn good one.
I thought that was really successable. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's after we had the Supergirl TV show with that Superman, and then we had the crossover to Superman and Lois, and now we have this new reboot with Superman, which, I mean, home run.
Yeah, and to me that's exciting, because how many times have we spent our reviews in the parking lot going to Marvel movies and saying, wow, I wonder where this is going to connect, or where is this all going? And we've been waiting. And we've been waiting, and we've been waiting for the connection. And so maybe we're going to see something come December. Just maybe.
Right, finally.
I'm hoping we see something come July with Spider-Man. Give me something. Give me a tease,
Yeah.
Well, the Infinity War was too good. It's like Endgame was too good. And like, I feel like that both makes me feel like I need, I'm showing my daughters the whole MCU right now. So I'm trying to get them ready for Doomsday. They just got into this stuff. So one of my daughters came to me and was just like, who's Iron Man? What are all these movies? They saw a trailer for Doomsday along with like some other movie we were seeing. And I was like, oh, well, if you want to see that, we have, 50 movies to watch for that movie to make any sense to you. And then they were like, sure. And so we went back to Iron Man and started it's been great for me to rewatch and see how great those early ones are. But it's also reminded me of like the hit rate that Marvel had. Marvel had Thor and Iron Man and Hulk and Captain America. Like, they made good, solid comic book movies. The only reason why any of this is still going is because they nailed Avengers and they nailed those other they nailed those early movies. I'm worried about Supergirl. We saw one trailer that I really dug, and then another that I went, okay, it seems like a Guardians of the Galaxy reskin. I mean, I loved Superman. I thought that was great, but I see the trailer and go, okay, I've seen that movie. The movie that seems like they're selling, I've seen that so many times. Yeah. I hope it's awesome, but you can't have too many misses this early. Clayface, we just got a trailer for that today. And it's like I think in some way, it's really awesome that DC can do its own styles. That's something that I heard James Gunn talking about. Is that Clayface can be a body horror, or Supergirl can be a very different, it doesn't have to fit into the main Superman storyline, the main vibe of the rest of the DC. It can be all over the place. And we lost a movie I really wanted to see that was Edgar Wright's Ant-Man. Yeah. So Edgar Wright was making Ant-Man with Simon Pegg as Ant-Man. It was going to be like set in the 60s and really stylish. And like, Edgar Wright's one of my favorite directors. He's hilarious. His editing style, his pacing. But I think it was too Edgar Wright and not enough like the rest of the main MCU. So it was cut, and we got the Peyton Reed. But that was awesome. I love that too. But I feel like if anything was too outside the box for the MCU, they didn't do it. And so then we get a lot of really bland, generic. I mean, we've had a lot of straight down the middle DC movies where I'm like, okay, that was all right. I've seen that movie a whole bunch now. We're doing origin stories. We're doing the villain that has the exact same power as the superhero and the blue beam in the sky at the end. And they're not going to die because they're launching a new franchise. It's just, there are no stakes to it. We've had a lot of bland Marvel movies. So I think that could be a superpower for DC. And, comic books are like that too. Yeah, so I love it. I'm reading Absolute Batman right now. And that can be a real departure. It's like, comics all the time are reinventing what the style and genre is. And so to have to stick to this MCU for 20 years, it's hard to not go outside that box.
I'll get to that in a second. one thing you said, a movie that we didn't get I wanted Batgirl, the Brendan Fraser's
Right.
Firefly Batgirl
It's
film.
somewhere
that
in a
was
vault.
finished.
I want it.
It was done.
Release a Batgirl cut.
And they didn't release it because they were bringing James Gunn in. But they could, I think, retroactively.
Oh yeah.
Give Gunn the print and just have him edit it and see what happens. I don't know. I'm not there. But
call it
for
Elseworlds.
Me,
give us come on.
Well, I mean, like Clayface is an Elseworlds movie, right? Like the Batman's kind of an Elseworlds movie.
Right. And Clayface is interesting. However, I don't, you mentioned, Ian, that James Gunn is going to try these sort of, call them like different genres, but do you see them looping back to the main story? That's one thing. Although you could say Marvel kind of had sort of the same elements to some of their movies, they all worked because they were all kind of swimming in the same direction. Do you take something that's a horror kind of like villain with Clayface? Like, would you take the latest Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, right, and put that directly into James Gunn's universe in Batman, right? That or whatever that Batman's going to look like. I wonder how that's going to work.
I think they weren't thinking about that at the time. I don't think it's going to work. And for me, I mean, this is my big thing with, we don't have to necessarily say who's winning, who's losing, right? Because for me, it's always been about the stories. Okay. And I'll kind of get to this point. And the storytellers tell the stories for the kids and all of us. That being said, though, like the excitement of a reboot like Superman and the excitement of a continuation of the stories, that's what's keeping us engaged as 40-year-old, 40-ish-year-old people. We are all 40 in our 40s. No, Ian, you have one more year, right?
No, I'm 40. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations! Welcome to the old people's club. No, but you understand what I'm saying, though. Like these stories are keeping. I mean, we grew up with this stuff before this stuff was cool, so we're in it no matter what. But that anticipation for the younger generation, our kids, you're showing your daughters all of the MCU to get caught up right for Doomsday. I think it's that story anticipation. I think it's like waiting for it's like The Princess Bride, right? Fred Savage starts off not liking it, and then all of a sudden, the grandpa puts the book away. Peter Falk's like, "Oh, I think you're too tired for this." And no, Dad, Grandpa, keep going. On the other hand, though, some stories do have to wait for the right storyteller, and I think that was James Gunn, right? So I think the stories we got from Zack Snyder were cool, but I don't think they necessarily had the right seasoning on them. I think they were great actors who were put in a big tentpole movie, and just it didn't come together. It didn't mesh. James Gunn, right, has his DC story that he's going to tell. It's outside the Batman universe, which, I really hope that they bring around Clayface to the Batman universe, because that would be cool. Batman, Clayface, the Penguin, and a new Joker, hopefully. But that anticipation, I think, is the most important part. That anticipation, we're spending 40 minutes or 35 minutes talking about this stuff now. Like that's why it's important, because it's important to us, and those storytellers know that, and I don't think they want to disappoint. They want to tell good stories.
Right.
But I don't think there's any doubt in that. Yeah.
But for me, you have the stories, but you also have the characters, right? So those characters, right? They're we have the storytellers, but then we have the characters. What is the storyteller going to do with those characters? And we have some very important characters: Iron Man, Cap, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Thor. All these characters who, for the last, like we said,
box.
20
they're like
years,
those ones that could sell a lot. Like at Target, they're on the lunchbox. They both kind of have these different sets. So we got they call them the Holy Trinity over on DC with the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yep.
And then I feel like Marvel has their Captain America and Iron Man and Thor and Hulk.
Well, the thing too is that because they're doing the reboot of the DC universe, they have a fresh palette. I think that James Gunn doesn't want to do the same stories we have. How many times have we seen Batman's parents dying in the alley? How many times have we seen, we didn't look in this Superman, in the James Gunn Superman, Pa Kent wasn't dead. He didn't have a heart attack, running after a tornado or something like that. Right. He was there, and they had a relationship, and that was great. It pushed the story along. I think that James Gunn probably wants to do like, where is Batgirl? Where is Nightwing? Where is Damian Wayne? Where is Superboy? Right? Bring those characters in, like tell new stories with these legacy characters. Like don't go back to the well. Whereas Marvel has the blessing and curse of longevity, right? So like think about this. You're at a crossroads right now, this doomsday, right? With these incursions, you're having Robert Downey Jr. play Dr. Doom, you're having all the people meet, and you have the old X-Men. I think what would be really great is to tell a new story with new X-Men, but in this universe, right? So I'm thinking Mr. Sinister, I'm thinking Genosha, I'm thinking like the real Sentinels, like I'm thinking all those things. Push it forward. You have a really good space with Iron Man, Cap. They could be multiversal people, right? You could bring in new characters. I think they're starting that though with Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. I really do think she's Jean Grey. I know that's just a rumor. I think she's Jean Grey in this MCU. So it could be a good start. And from there, you could go anywhere. You could get the Young Avengers, you can get Miles Morales, right? So I think it's not the fundamental characters anymore. It's not those lunchbox characters. I think now we're going to start to see the new characters. Nightwing, Damian Wayne, the Red Hood. Like we can bring in all these new characters and tell new stories with the legacy characters still there as like a handoff.
I mean, I guess the question is it going to put butts in seats, right? That's the thing. I think what you said about X-Men could be true, right? Because, well, I mean, you could transition that now. And if you're really saying, okay, now Marvel, it's owned by Disney instead of having it be Fox, and that is like your transition point. I mean, that's a new telling of that story. I think that's been told a couple times, granted, but I am weary, and I'm calling it of Marvel falling into the Skywalker trap, right? And we saw this with Mando, right? You're going back to the well. Can you let go of those legacy Avengers characters, right? And even for Doomsday, you saw that Thor will return, right? Captain America is going to return. We thought Captain America was sunset, right? He went to have his life with Peggy, and Iron Man is dead. Honestly,
spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, seriously, right? But I mean, I was excited for what's happening with Shang-Chi, right? I've been waiting, for them to like launch into this new era, right? So I just feel like they could really, if they're going to keep on relying on those guys, it's not going to tell like the next generational story.
No, it isn't.
And you're going to get there. And it goes back to, again, I think, right, that DC has the fortunate luck or lack of success where they could build, they're starting from scratch, rebuilding a studio for the big screen. Because I feel like they've played, again, like the television aspect and the cartoon aspect and like kind of the side quests very well. Now I'm interested to see like, okay, where they're going to really bring it in terms of a big franchise, right?
Main quest.
That you're going to have. Yeah, the main quest. I really want to see that. I think both properties, though, still have the problem of we've got multiple Spider-Man over here. We've got multiple Batman over here, right? We even have a new Batman with another Batman movie coming out. and James Gunn is launching this whole new DC quest, right? So where does that fit in, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know. So I also think that the way that both of these companies, and I mean, you mentioned TV, and I think that's something that James Gunn, like I thought Peacemaker's great. Lanterns is going to be a TV show, and I think that feels like he's got a pretty solid. If they're bringing in Green Lantern at first, that's a TV show. Yeah. All of these characters have legs, and I think that they've been doing a lot of their lunchbox characters backwards. It's like for Spider-Man and Batman in particular, I read those comics. They have 70 years or however many years of amazing stories with these characters. Bingo. And then we get one Spider-Man movie every 5 years that's 2 hours. Spider-Man has so much, there are real legs there, pun intended, to tell these stories that are longer. We should have an A-level Spider-Man TV show where we get a top-of-the-line character. And I feel like they saved that. We get side characters. We get second and third tier Marvel properties as TV shows. We do not get Iron Man as a TV show. We don't even get Batman as a TV show. Batman has been there's so many Batman stories to tell. and then we get like one every 7 years. It's not enough Batman. It's like those are the characters that really would hit. And so I don't think either of them have
Batman.
done. We need more Batman. Come on. I know. And the fact that we don't have a live action Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy is crazy to me. I feel like they brought a lot of the big characters through. The fact that we don't have that the new X-Men are exciting, and I'm super pumped for those. But I think that's crazy you don't have a live action Miles Morales yet. Like, I like Tom Holland, and that's cool. I feel like they seem like they're running out of steam a little bit on that. Brand New Day looks great. Sure. I love him. But come on. We need a Spider-Gwen. It would crush. I don't know why they haven't done that yet. That seems nuts. Where they're bringing in a lot of like Moon Knight, and like we were getting Werewolf by Night and like all these other characters. It's like, okay, they just keep adding more characters, and I feel like that gets nuts for the MCU where there are so many characters now.
Yes.
Yeah. But I also think James Gunn has a chance to do interesting stuff with his characters when he's launching Batman. I mean, I think Damian Wayne already, that's the rumor that Batman and Robin were going to get this storyline where it's his son who's going to be like a psycho. Like Damian Wayne Robin is like Hit Girl, where he was trained by the League of Shadows. He's his son with Talia al Ghul, and he comes in and he's like a trained assassin. And Batman like doesn't kill. I mean, I can't wait to see this. It's going to be a great... yeah, that could be super, super interesting with how they do that. Or Wonder Woman. You know, I like the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. I don't know how you pivot that too far from that and not just remake that movie when it's time to do Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I agree.
But, if we're talking about these characters, I think we have to talk about dads. So for our next topic, it's going to be from the dad perspective. Dads in these universe, dad stories. Which one's going to be better, MCU or DCU? So I was thinking MCU is stacked with dads right now. So if we're talking just volume of dads, we got Hawkeye, Ant-Man, Thor, Cap, Black Panther, Hulk, Reed Richards, Iron Man. It's kind of the whole reason why we have a podcast is that we were like, what's up with all these dads? Because, are these movies for us or are they for our kids? Well, now they're kind of for both of us, but they're still pretty much for us, right? Like we're the ones that read the comics. We want to take our kids to this stuff. I think if we're talking MCU, Iron Man and Morgan were such amazing scenes. The Love You 3000, and like out of all those movies, we knew that when we saw Infinity War, like, oh, they saved all the dads, for Endgame, and we're like, yeah, because oh my God, it hit home. That Hawkeye scene where he can't find his kids, that's like every dad's fear when you're like, wait, where did you're like somewhere public and you lose track of a kid. That was so heartbreaking. And like, I've seen the MCU doing some really, really cool stuff with dads in their movies. So
even in a terrible movie like Ant-Man and Quantumania, like that was not a great Marvel movie, but the Cassie and Scott Lang stuff was so good.
Yes, and we got to see him be a hero and his daughter's a hero. I think that they haven't quite done that yet. We've had these kids that are so young that they're just parenting them. They're not heroes yet. But if you read any comic book, that is a classic comic book thing that like, it's the son of Ant-Man. That's so like it was great to see Cassie Lang have the suit and be doing hero stuff with her dad. Like that was super cool to see handing that down, that it's not just a parent-child relationship. Now it's a hero to a hero and training a next level hero. Because I don't know if any of this stuff is inherited also. So like Cap's super strength, when he has kids, are they going to get any of his powers?
Science.
Right? Thor, I mean, I would assume a Thor kid would have powers of a god and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't know yet if it's hereditary.
Well, yeah.
Marvel has a lot of like good surrogate parents. Aunt May and Uncle Ben, right? No, think about it. Aunt May and Uncle Ben, Thor and Love, right? From Thor, Love and Thunder, right? Who else was a surrogate parent? Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, right?
Right, yeah.
Even the Red Guardian and Yelena, right? Yelena's, I mean, he basically raised her, but they're not blood related. They were there because the Russians put them in, Ohio or something, right? So there's a lot of good like surrogate parents, like parents taking on that role. As far as who has the better story, I have no clue. But they have a huge canvas to paint on. Now, Marvel, obviously Fantastic Four, right? The first family of Marvel. It's the new center of the dadverse. It was like literally the bacon on the fish hook for me. Like, oh man, Dr. Doom's talking to Reed Richards, just, right. Because I know where that's going because I've read the comic books, right? Like Reed and Sue Storm's kid is supposed to be like this like otherworldly power superhero. So we have that. We know that Steve had the kid with Peggy Carter before he went AWOL at the conclusion of Endgame, right? So there's that dad thing going on. There's the Thor thing, although they didn't really reference it in that little trailer. So there's a lot of good parent stories there. Now, as far as Batman and Superman, I'm kind of holding expectations back because, again, he has a lot more heavy lifting to do with the characters themselves. Now, that thing you said about Damian Wayne as the child of Talia al Ghul as a psycho, if they do that, I don't know if they're necessarily going to, but are they going to do that as like part of the DCU? Are they going to do that part as the Batman? Like that would change it a lot. I'll tell you this though. One of the biggest dad and even like surrogate dad stories, right, is Batman's The Killing Joke, where he beats Robin to death with the crowbar. The Joker does. Yeah. I don't want the Joker from the Batman though. I want like a Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, like put him in that thing from The Fly, like one telepod over here, one telepod over here, and put a Joker like that. I think something like that, right? I think if we're going to do dark, deep stories, like Clayface looks like a horror movie. The Batman was very, very gritty, like even more gritty than the Dark Knight and that kind of universe. I think we can handle something like that. Now that's not going to be for kids, obviously. That's more of a niche project, but that's another story you could tell that has dads in it. I think that's one that I'm looking for.
I don't think they've nailed the Joker in that way of like, I think Mark Hamill from the animated series, like wear the purple suit with the green hair, with the white face, like the Joker. They go like, no, what if he's reinvented and he's a punk? Or what if he actually has tattoos in his teeth?
Hold on 1 second. Ledger worked in the in the Nolan verse. Right. Nicholson worked in the Burton verse, in the Burton verse. That's really hard to say, right? Like we've had good Jokers in each of the universes. I would say that Jared Leto's Joker was kind of the abnormality. Like the Suicide Squad Joker version, I did not like, but the 10 minutes he was in that uncut scene from Justice League at the end where he's like basically telling Batman like, you know, hey, you let your son die, blah blah blah, right? That Joker, that version of Jared Leto's Joker was perfect for that universe. But I think we need for this James Gunn universe. I don't know how you're going to do the Joker. Like he's going to really have to be the clown prince of crime.
It depends on what the Batman looks like or what Batman looks like in his universe, right? I think that's going to be a big. Is it going to go more comic booky and light like we saw with Superman, or is it going to get dark? I think that's going to be dark. I don't know if I really have a lot to add to what you guys did, but I'm going to say one thing, just in particularly about Marvel. I don't think, and this is just my opinion, again, kind of going back to what I said before, you can't look in the rearview mirror and take credit for Endgame. I know they have a history of building on those parental relationships and things, and they have definitely set in, family dynamics and pieces. I mean, like you mentioned, Jay, look at Fantastic Four. The selling point of the movie is we're family, right? That was family to the whole universe, right? And we saw that Doom, right, was taking the child or at least messing with the child because he has the superpowers, right? So we definitely know that Marvel has that strong tie-in, but I just feel like I want to see where they're going to take future relationships, right? In telling the parenting story and the father story. I really did think, though, that I enjoyed how they handled the Kent family in Superman a lot. I thought it was really awesome. It was different, right? And I really enjoyed how at the end when he is in, his fortress, how he's looking at, the pictures and appreciating, what he has for family. I thought that was really cool. I also really hope that, it'll be interesting to see what Supergirl is like, if that's like a flip to that coin, or, does she come back to family type of thing? I think maybe you make some inroads with that. So she kind of feels displaced. She's on a different planet. He's kind of the golden boy type of thing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how those stories weave in and out. And of course, how are they going to handle, Bruce's parents type of thing? That's a big question too, right? So
no more crime.
Spoiler alert! What happened to his parents?
Yeah, I know.
So Derrick, as the newest dad, right? You have the freshest child, right? The freshest child.
Too young to go to these.
Too young to go to these. But eventually, right?
Yeah.
Which universe do you see yourself kind of more excited sharing with both the big one and the little one?
Yeah, well, see, I still go back to this now, and I hate to say it because it's just shiny and new, right? And Ian, I'm not doing what you did with your daughters, because
do it.
Superman was just a good jumping in point.
Right.
My older son was just too young to like start those movies, and so I just feel like right now with Superman, he's seen it, he loves it. I really do feel like it's an easy starting in point to get into kind of like the superhero movie universe. Not that those other movies aren't, good, or you could go back and take a look at them, but I really feel that DC is killing it, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe I will say this, with the exceptions of Spider-Man, right? Because Spider-Man always seems to be its own individual type of thing. Like my son loved Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
we're
so
still
good.
waiting for like the third movie in that too, right? But I gotta say though, for like just in the time investment, I really feel like the new DC is, I know, something I'm really kind of interested in being like, all right, let's go see the new one, right? Type of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Is making an event.
Yeah, for me, I think that if I was just looking at who has the strongest slate going forward, I mean, I feel like Marvel's got its work to try to cut some clear path here. That DC can start fresh, and Batman, to me, I mean, that is always the crown jewel character of like any character. Like Batman is one that like an actor can really, with depending on the casting, can really establish themselves or like sink into. These characters of the Joker or Robin, like some of these are just like top tier. They could do something really cool. I don't know if I'm that excited for MCU for any characters that they have. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure the X-Men will be cool. They'll get a new Wolverine or new Cyclops. Like, I'm pumped for those. But
Gambit.
Batman's the one. Gambit, right? Like Lanterns, I'm excited for. I think it's cool to start that. When I look forward at the MCU, I don't know if those movies have me as pumped as those other ones.
Yeah.
I think the X-Men will be the next one for me that, like, if my top of my list, I want a new X-Men. I mean, I love because, I mean, at this point, we've taken all the toys out of the box, right? Like, what other superhero movies are there that we have not brought in? We got Toby, we got Andrew Garfield. Like, they've pulled in so many. Eventually, there won't be any left.
Right.
It's like we have Michael Keaton. We've done, okay, so we're just going to keep pulling in these actors. Yeah, they need to start reinventing and doing some of their own cool new stuff. That'll be the references later.
I agree.
But for my kids, I gotta say the MCU is what they're pumped about, because the DC's all promises, but for Doomsday, they are super excited to get to know all these characters, and especially at their school, it seems like the kids are talking about. They came to ask me these things because they're like, oh, they're hearing this at school on the playground. They're all playing DC stuff. I mean, sorry, they're all playing Marvel. So yeah,
you
so
see,
I know my
kiddos.
I feel like a loser. My kid just asked me about inflation and the Constitution.
Hey, there you go. But I also think my daughters are girls, and so that's something. It's a whole different lens to look at. I looked at these movies as like, I'm a 40-year-old middle-aged guy. Why did it make me happy? It should be about me. But I like that DC has Supergirl coming out.
Yeah.
And I think for them having these female characters that they can get pumped for, they love Crypto. They love, I mean, every moment with Crypto, they're going to just absolutely love. So Wonder Woman, I don't know what they're doing, but I think Batgirl is another one that, like, man, if they do that right, my daughters loved Batgirl on the 60s TV show.
They did it right. It's sitting in a vault somewhere.
Right. I know. So, but I think that's a whole different thing as a parent now. It's like when I'm sharing these with them, having strong female heroes is just as important to me now. So yeah, I hope they bring it.
Yeah. Well, here's my problem. I think this is a good place to wrap on because it's like Empire Strikes Back. It's the sad ending. My daughter, not a comic book person, doesn't jive with Star Wars, could care less about Batman, Superman, X-Men. She liked watching the cartoon Spider-Man, but like the cartoon of like Spider-Man as like a third grader kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Spider and his amazing
however,
friends.
And this is where I'm going to get deep. I'm going deep. I'm going deep. It's not the characters. It's the parts of the story, right? I can share those parts of the story with her without having it be a comic book movie lesson, right? So, I mean, I think one of my favorite lines of all of the comic book cinema, whatever it is, with great power comes great responsibility, from the Marvel universe, from Peter Parker, right?
Yeah.
Like if my daughter wants to be a doctor, like she's 9 and wants to be a doctor or a nurse, I mean, that's a lot of power, right? That's a big responsibility. Then you have from Superman, right? Truth, justice, and the American way, right? That's an important lesson, right? I know, we're in crazy times politically right now, but truth, justice, and the American way, right? Fight for what's right. I think those lessons are great, and I could share those things with her. And she's 9. Maybe I can get her to come see Supergirl. Like maybe she'll get, with Crypto. I can say, hey, look, want to go see a movie? She's not a huge theater first person because of the noise. She doesn't like to really, I mean, like now I'm surprised we have any hearing left over, because now you go in the theater and it's like, it's like, 19 million decibels. Yeah. But that's the great thing. And I think this is where I'm going to wrap it up for us, right? It's the great thing about these stories. They don't need capes. They don't need armor. They don't need anything like that. All we need is a story. Just give us the stories and keep giving us the stories. And yeah, some of them might be swings and misses. Some of them might be home runs. Just keep giving us the stories. And I think that's the real takeaway. Marvel and DC, just keep giving us the stories, and we'll pay the $17, 7 on Tuesdays, because that's cheaper.
Thanks for listening, Dads. Was that the most heated round 2 we've ever had? We hope our deep dive into the cinematic showdown between Marvel and DC was worthy of the big screen.
If you want to find out more about Three-Dimensional Dads, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Three-Dimensional Dads, or email us at threedimensionaldads@gmail.com. We want to hear from you.
Did our talk about all the new movies to add to your watch list stress you out? Well, on the next Three-Dimensional Dads, we have streaming overload. So many new things to watch, so many monthly subscription fees. All this and more next time on Three-Dimensional Dads.